glad to welcome in UCF football coach George O'Leary, whose team is coming off the greatest season in school history and who is in the middle of spring football practice, and he takes some time to join us today. Coach O'Leary, thanks for being on.
Oh, it's no problem, fellas. Hope you all doing well.
Coach, do you watch college basketball? Did you watch the game last night?
I watched it until the end of it. I think, but I tell you what, I was rooting for Butler. I mean, I'm always, I was looking for them to try to get that one done. But obviously they didn't get it done. But hey, they got there and they had a great season.
Coach, we've been ripping the game last night, saying it was just an ugly game to watch. You're a defensive-minded coach. You probably liked the game last night.
Oh, I thought it was sloppy play, bad shooting, and really just neither team played well offensively. I'm not sure it was great defense. I think it was basically sloppy play and bad shooting.
Coach O'Leary, as a football coach, is it frustrating to you at all that basketball's playoff system gives everybody a chance to compete for a national title, programs like Butler in VCU, whereas the BCS doesn't?
Well, I've always been someone that's in favor of a playoff system. I think it's something that could be done very easily, and I think the more you see that's coming about these bowl games, you find out why we don't have a playoff system. There's a lot more involved in it than just the NCAA or people turning it down. I think there's too much politics involved why we don't have it, and I think the BCS is the best we have right now, but there has to be a better system where it's more equated to everybody, and I think that's what needs to be looked at.
We are talking to UCF football coach George O'Leary. Coach O'Leary, as I just mentioned, you are coming off the greatest year in UCF football history. I'm curious, do other schools still call you to offer you jobs, or do they just figure you're happy at UCF?
No, I have too big a buyout on mine, and I'm very content here. And I said that when I signed my last contract that this would be my last job, and I'm very. I like the from the president down. I think they have made a commitment, and I think that each year that you get progressively better in a lot of areas, and I like the situation. I like the area.
Coach, I'm going to give you a chance to trumpet your program a little bit. Can a case be made that a program like UCF has more potential than some BCS jobs?
Oh, yeah, no question about that. Not some, a lot of them. A lot of them. This when we took it over, I don't think was a great job. I think right now it's a job that whenever it opens, I think you'll have a lot of big-time names trying to get involved in it, and the only thing you're lacking is that BCS tag. Everything else is in place, that from facilities, from growth, from commitment to do the things you need to do. But it's not just some of the BCS schools. I would say a lot of them we could basically run, match up and play with, and a lot more than not, put it that way.
Coach, there seems to be a lot of controversy, scandal going on in college sports right now. Are you concerned at all where college athletics is headed, and is there anything that needs to be done?
Oh, yeah. I think it's disgraceful that's what's gone on with, and actually in both sports. And if what people are saying and what's in the paper is true, I think we just procrastinate so much as far as NCAA is concerned, administration is concerned, and the rules are very clear, and you can't let some break them and some not break them, and then go after the little guy all the time. They need to come down heavy on the ones that are dealing with money and trading it out to players, and I think that's otherwise you're going to end up with a total mess in the country. And I think every college coach is waiting to see what's going to be done in some of these situations and how heavy the penalties are going to be regarding the NCAA and the schools that basically commit the penalties.
Let me ask you this, and you can answer it if you want.
Sure.
If you had 5 players before your Liberty Bowl game who were found to be trading in their memorabilia for cash, do you think those 5 players would have been suspended for next season, or do you think the NCAA would have said, hey, we're going to have this suspension now?
Well, I would have turned it into compliance, which you should do. Every coach knows that.
Yeah.
And basically see where the NCAA takes it. And I think that's the decision. I know I would have suspended them for that game myself, and then whatever the NCAA was going to do, they did after the season. I don't think you suspend people when you have time to suspend them for the current year. You do it. I don't think you take it into the next season unless the NCAA gets involved in it.
Coach, switching to spring practice, Jeff Godfrey from year 1 to year 2, can you notice a big difference?
I can. The couple of things that I think as a true freshman last year, poise in the pocket and just the overall knowledge of everybody's assignments on offense. I think that's the two areas that I've really seen Jeff improve from, a commitment to film study, to stuff that takes a little time to learn if you're a freshman. It just doesn't happen. But I see those two areas this spring where you could see the major attempt to stay in the pocket, read, and not just take off running all the time. And I think he's a better quarterback because of that.
He is Coach George O'Leary, head coach of the UCF Knights. Coach, Rob Calabrese has been one of the more amazing stories of spring football that I can remember. He was your starting quarterback at the beginning of last year. He suffers a fluke injury. He loses his job to Jeff Godfrey, and now I guess he looks like a pretty good receiver. Can you talk about Rob?
Well, Rob probably, if I had to pick out one leader on the team, I think it's Rob. He's not a yes guy. He's not afraid to stand up in today's society and whether right or wrong, say what he thinks, which I appreciate from kids. Today, that's the toughest thing. Is kids, it's hard to find leadership. It really is. But I think Rob's going to help us and be a tremendous help at receiver, have the ability to play some quarterback from that position too. And again, he's a kid that, from a standpoint of respect and leadership, he needs to be on the field somewhere, and I think it's a way to get him out there. But, I've been very pleased with Blake Bortles, the second quarterback this year, and he's really had come on and done some really fine things. A lot of things have to be finessed a little bit more as far as detail, but, I think he has a great future at himself also.
Coach, speaking of quarterbacks, a lot was made over the last couple of weeks about DeMarcus Smith, the
Right.
recruit from Louisville who changed his mind and wanted out of his letter of intent. Is there any new news on that? And what is your philosophy, again, about not letting players out of their commitments?
No, there's no new news that I know of except the last time I spoke to him and his mom. It was basically I wouldn't do that. And, I just think that, colleges spend an awful lot of time recruiting athletes, and they aren't forced to sign the NLI. They sign that themselves with their parents, and it's a legal document. And I think if you start letting people out of that NLI, you're going to have a problem throughout the whole country, not just at your school, because everybody's going to want to come in if they don't like the way a coach looks at them, if they don't like something else earlier, and want to release. And I just think you need to once you make a commitment, you need to be held to it. And I've always believed that's something that's sadly lacking in this country, period, and everything.
Coach, last thing, obviously you changed defensive coordinators during the offseason. Dave Huxtable leaves. You bring in John Sclodani, he's been a part of the program in the past. Any changes in the defense? I know you run a lot of the defense, but is there any changes at all with the defense?
Well, I pretty much let the coaches, put in stuff that they feel good about, and then, we tweak things. I think you're always looking to get better. I don't think we were a good pressure team last year, so we're working extremely hard on those type things. I think we got to, bone up on some man coverage stuff. So, I just talk about where I like to see us grow to. I think Dave Huxtable did an outstanding job as far as it, but you're always looking to improve, and you sit down and you say, well, here's some areas I think we need to work a little harder on, and maybe is it the players, is it the scheme, and try to come to a happy medium there. But I've been very pleased. I think we have some inexperience at linebacker, and that's where the emphasis has been spent this spring.
Coach O'Leary, as I've mentioned You're coming off the best season in school history, but as fans and media members, you know that we're never satisfied. Can you be better next year?
We have a chance. When I first took the job, I said, fellas, go out and play hard and see what we can get done. I think that the last couple of years, including this year, I think if we do what we're supposed to do each and every game, we have a chance to win every game. And I tell our players that, and that'll be the same next year. But we have to go out and bring your A game. I think college football, that 25 limitation has caught up with everybody. Everybody has skilled athletes, and the difference is really the front play as far as offensive, defensive line. So we have a chance to win every game, and if you don't play well, you got a chance to lose them too. But we have a chance to line up and basically win each and every game we play if we play like we're supposed to.
He is Coach George O'Leary, head coach of the UCF football night spring game a week from Saturday. Coach, we thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, fellas. Appreciate it.